That's pretty much it. I just before the stream I was like, what is the real difference from last season? And in my opinion, it's if we go on from mid lane, we start off in mid lane, right? And I feel like our snowball is just genuinely absurd. And I think it has to do with a couple of different factors. Of course, the home guards play into it, but the ignite kill threshold is insanely high for Aurora. Last season, there was barely any Auroras playing with Ignite, so people are not used to the kill thresholds from Aurora with Ignite. And the reason for that is as well that if we put Ignite on someone and we have our Q on them, the execute damage from our Q increases as well. So technically, Aurora does more damage with Ignite than any other character in the game because it increases the damage of our Q execute. That is a massive advantage when we know the threshold and enemy is like very difficult to judge for the enemy. And of course, that combined with the home guards, that means we don't need TP at all. We don't even lose tempo. So all we do is we get ahead in gold. And that is where the snowball, like the ridiculous snowballs come from. And then you just go 15-0 in a game when you start off snowballing in the lane, and it's kind of crazy. Another thing that happened this season is that not only do we get the empowered boots to improve our damage, we also have to play into the Merc threats. And I think for now, not many people caught on to it, but the nullifying counters for Aurora are actually a lot harder. Like Galio, even the bullying matchups like Victor, for example. If Victor rushes these Merc threats and they get upgraded, the amount of damage they negate is absolutely ridiculous, even if we have the pen boots. So I feel like the nullifying counters are a lot harder this season, but not many people pick them, so that's kind of a good thing for now. There might also be angles for us to do the same. If we play into these matchups, maybe we just skip the pen boots or the Swifty boots and we buy mercs ourselves. I want to try that. So that could be very strong. We didn't try that yet. We did try a lot of different things, and that's where the third part comes in. I feel like we have a beautiful versatility this season. We can literally play all 5 roles. We tried it and it worked pretty well. Can we be the best champion in every single role? Of course not. But the versatility is pretty crazy. Like, we're insanely strong top lane. We can bully the usual matchups, melee matchups. We just bully them. We snowball. We get like just insanely high level, and we can carry team fights from that point on. Mid lane, of course, I just explained it. We just get the boots. The usual snowball is even stronger than before. Jungle, I mean, we can clear the jungle, so technically we could play jungle role. Support, we already could play before. We were very strong. Electrocute, but also just Dark Harvest. We can stack Dark Harvest in the skirmishes. That's why we're so strong in the support role, because we can skirmish so heavily. And even the AD carry role, I think it's even stronger than last season. I mean, I didn't play it much last season, but I feel like the scaling we get from having more items, like Aurora scales really strongly with AP. We just get more AP, we become insanely strong. I feel like that's kind of the point. So I think as an AD carry position, we're a lot stronger as well. So we have and not only that we can play all the roles, every single role can have different play styles. Top lane we have, of course, every role can play Electrocute, but you know the Swifty angle? We can go phase rush, we can go, I don't know. There's a lot of different kind of builds, you know? For phase rush, we have Electrocute, of course, we have Dark Harvest, we even have First Strike. I think First Strike was working really well in the AD carry position, so we can actually get to the 6 item point break pretty fast, and the damage is still ridiculous. So that's the angle for AD carry in my opinion. On the other hand, I think Aurora itself is still like under the radar. I think she's pretty OP without like a meta type of hype. She only has like 3% pick rate, and for the strength that she brings to a team, I think she's very underrated, so you can just pick her a lot. Like we got her like banned once or something, or enemy team picked her once, and we've already played like 100 games. I mean, that's always like a massive advantage because of the consistency, of course. You can just play what you like and what you're comfortable with. That's a pretty big advantage. Another thing is that for the 5th point here, like the old builds still work extremely well, you know? The old builds still work extremely well. We can still go Electrocute, we can still go Ludens. So there's not much adjusting that we have to do even this season. We can just basically play how we played last season, but it's just much stronger. So like, It's kind of interesting. I think some of the win rates are a little bit skewed because of the like we're trying to experiment a lot with like actualizer and stuff like that, and we are contributing to that statistic. So if we lose on actualizer, her win rate will go down, even though with electrocute it might have been a win. So that's kind of the other thing. So maybe that's why there's no hype. I don't know. People just generally also don't like tend to gravitate towards Aurora in general for meta. I feel like it's a little bit pro skewed. They know that the ult is very extremely impactful in like team fights. You can just ult and be done with it. But in solo queue, I think we have like a lot of advantages that are just very underrated. Her W reset, skirmishing, it's just incredibly strong and very underutilized as well. I think there can be a lot of creativity with it, a lot of even chasing in mid lane. I just had a game today into Rise, and if you disrespect Aurora like for 1 second, the range that we have, even though we're like mid range champion, because of the W movement speed, we can extend our range so much that if we get disrespected, we can capitalize very very well. And that goes perfectly into the next point, capitalizing on the increased skirmishes. I feel like this season there's a lot more skirmishes. We want to fight for grubbies. We want to fight for like dragons. All of these objectives, they've become a little bit more like interesting. Everybody's trying to join in. And even just like 3v3 skirmishes have increased, in my opinion. I don't know why. We thought like people would stay in their lane, but I feel like there's more skirmishes, and Aurora's just incredibly good at skirmishes. So that's why we can kind of flourish in that environment if everybody just stays in their lane. And another thing with that as well is if someone leaves our lane, we can heavily punish them. We can very heavily punish them. Aurora is incredibly good at just pushing the wave and getting the knock on the turret. So if the laner roams and messes up the roam and doesn't get like a triple kill, you will just be ahead by default by basically not doing anything. So I think it's very powerful that we can just literally one-shot a wave at like level 7 or 8 and then just hit the turret with a new like because there's so little HP. Like for the first 3 platings, it's so little HP. We can just knock it and become insanely OP. And then of course the objectives for this season. We've already been strong at controlling objectives, but this season there's less objectives and they're a little bit more difficult to contest. But I feel like because we are more focused on actually killing people at the objective, it's like we have a better chance to snowball at the objectives, if that makes sense. Like we of course we want to last hit the dragon, but what we can also do is just one shot 3 people at the dragon. And of course we could do that last season as well, but the enemy team takes longer to take the dragon. They're more durable, they're more tanky. So we have a little bit more time to set up and get this triple kill in. I think all of these things worked out kind of well to make Aurora a really strong character in season 16. And that's why I see like a lot of like in our community, of course, there's a lot of success with Aurora, and it just makes sense because we're completely insane in team fights. We're absolutely insane on the dragon fights because of it. Baron fights the same thing. Baron shreds resistances. Like if the enemy team starts Baron and you come in on the back end, I mean that's just a disaster for the enemy team. Complete disaster. With our W, we can create these scenarios much more consistently than most other characters, in my opinion. And that's kind of just my TED talk for Aurora in the early season. Hello, Senyan. What's up? I was just yapping for 10 minutes basically about the early season Aurora changes. That's pretty much it. That's my thoughts on Aurora. I think once we get to Master Tier, I'm going to make like a very in-depth guide about all of this, but that's just my initial thought. I think she's incredibly strong. If you want to play anything, just play Aurora right now. If you think about playing Aurora, it's just insanely strong. It's also a lot of fun. Just being powerful in League, it's just a lot of fun. We're doing basically what we did last season, but we're just stronger at it. And there's no Atakan coin flip anymore, so the consistency is improved as well. Damn, yapping like always. How are you doing, Zenial? I am kind of a yap god, to be honest. TBH. That's pretty much the TED talk here. I'm pretty good as well. I'm pretty good. Glad you're good as well. Let me just yeetus deletus this. And I have 2 more things that I want to share though. I like the yapping. Yo, Luna, how are you doing? That was the early season yap. I love listening to yapping. I love yapping, so I like it. Let's go. Emotes. Yes, I added some emotes. I, I'm gonna add a bunch more, I think. But the thing is, we don't have that many emote slots, and I want to make the most used available for without subscription, of course. So we'll see how I do that. I'm also working on actually also